So, we're quite used to F125 now, but I'm going to go back in time today to see if the older games are better in any way. So we're going to go back to F124 first. Of course, that F125 evolved from F124, but then back to F123, which is a completely different handling model, to see if there's anything we prefer about it now we're so used to F125. Now, just to stave off some of the comments, we're not going back to F122. Most people prefer 23 over 22. 22 was even admitted by the main handling guy, David Greco, as a bit of a mistake in terms of how reactive that game was. I personally didn't mind F122. Look, we can go back all day to all the F1 games. We're just going to go back to the last three, just to kind of see where we've come from and work them in reverse. Let's do it. Cool. F125 still works for game lag. That won't happen in any other game. They've introduced that in a patch. Wait, no. Did they? No. Maybe they introduced that in a patch F124. Interesting that bug also happens on F124. Also, we're just going to get a feel for the menus and stuff, see if they've changed much over the last couple of years. That makes sense? That makes sense. Let's do it. Let's do default setup first. Just do a couple laps, get all warmed up. Obviously, this is really just to get a baseline. I'm obviously used to F125. I don't need to play F125 to get a feel for it. I wasn't a good exit. Honestly, I think sometimes too much is made of lap times in terms of how close they are to real life. I don't think it really matters. Within reason. I think it's more important that the car feels right than that the numbers match real life. So if it means you're a second lap quicker than real life, then fine. If you're 5 seconds lap quicker than real life, okay, you've got an issue. But you've got to bear in mind that might not necessarily be a handling issue. That could be a track scale issue. You could have accidentally made the track 5% smaller. Alright, let's try and set it decent now. Let's try and get in the 4s. Just went a very aggressive there, really. Oh, I sent it too hard. Full throttle early there and prayed. Oh, God damn. You know it's close when my left leg comes off the floor. I'll miss the curb. You've got to hit the curb with the default setup. That was deep as well. Not the best final sector, but that'll do. We're just about into the 4s. All right. Well, I mean, look, obviously we could sweat and find a few more 10s, but high 4s seems like a fairly representative lap. So let's just go put on a setup. See, obviously, again, we know how that feels, but to see what the lap time difference is, I guess. It just genuinely feels like the car stops better. Feels like the brakes are better, but sure that can't be the case. Terrible. I thought I was going to go deep. I wasn't going to go deep. I was fine with the custom setup, but with default, I'd have gone really deep, so I turned it early. Oh, I've got to get back to having a lot of rotation again. Look how terrible that corner was, and I still beat it. Same with that. Loads more potential there. Look how much up I am. Oh my God, there's so much more potential in this. I felt like I was almost approaching the limit of the previous setup, but I'm already 3 seconds up with that pretty terrible lap. Should we get a completely different handling model with 26 with new regs? I don't know. F1 2014, we didn't get that. 2022... I guess we kind of did. That was better. Handled that curve really nicely. Could have been quicker as well. Anyway, let's do a good lap here. I want to see how much quicker we can go with the setup. Bit better. Could do better again. It's got almost a bit too much rotation, honestly. Hesitant there again because of the rotation. Probably flat. Half a second up at Austria. .710 to Austria, and GB reckons it's not as much of a second on this game. It's a second on this game. It's still a second. I think it used to be more, but it's about a second. Anyway, so F125, we know how F125 feels. Let's go back to F124. 9. They're still doing new seasons, are they? Oh, I don't... Are you seriously going to make... I don't care. As if even they may force you to start F124. I don't care, but I'm going to pick my boy. Where's my boy? Here's my boy.
Radio check.
Yeah, I mean, the menus are exact... Which I think is a bit sad. I think each game... I don't want them to completely overhaul the UI every year, don't get me wrong, but I think each game should feel its era. So F1 2024 cars, eco-performance on. We're going to run the Ferrari again. Around Austria again. So, default setup first. All right. Oh, sounds very different. I think worse? Are the sounds worse? Oh, here's the game lag. Here's the game lag. So, yeah, they introduced that on a patch on F1 24. Maybe like the start of 2025, they released an F124 patch that added this lag. That lag won't be there on F123. So whatever they did in that patch has made it happen, and they never fixed it. And they haven't fixed it still on F125. How lovely. Ooh. 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 Oh, no. How did we drive this for a whole year? The front's like way sharp. I never liked having the F124, but I learned to deal with it. It's just... look at that! What is that? Oh my god. I genuinely forgot how bad it... Turn! I don't even know what to say. It just feels fundamentally broken. Slides are completely unnatural. Any moment of oversteer, you turn into it, and it's like... I vaguely recall saying this at the time, actually. It's interesting if I end up with similar feedback. It's like, rather than... I don't know, you sort of drifting into it, it's like the rear stays where it is, and the front wheels kind of teleport across the track to come into line with the rears. That's what it feels like. Oh, it's just wrong. It just feels so wrong. It's just so bad. Honestly, I remember being almost in a state of depression when I first played F124 at home, and I was like, a whole year of this? Are you serious? F125 mostly fixes these issues. It's still not the perfect handling model, but at least it feels somewhat natural. This just feels wrong. So, okay, let's try and break this down. First of all, bumps. Like curbs and stuff, massively simplified on this. Like, the car's just not really affected by the curbs and the bumps. They've clearly improved that for F125. Because the car just... Let's try and take a lot of... Turn 1. Like, not really. It just doesn't really lose grip. It's as if the car's not hitting the bump. And it's just unbelievably forgiving on oversteer or traction. You just floor it and it just sort of... I don't know, it's just really forgiving. Like, what? That was faster! And yet, like, here, full throttle. No wazzers. No wazzers, just boom! On the throttle like that, and it didn't affect the car. Turning off the curb, I was me overreacting, it didn't actually affect the car. I've always tended to say it's like a beta handling, but it's not. It doesn't feel like... it just feels like a broken handling. It feels like someone's tried to make a driving game, didn't know what the hell they were doing, or had some very bad tools or a very bad engine. Like, for example, maybe try and make a super realistic driving game in GTA. Crew Motorfest, right? Try and make that ultra realistic with modding. You sort of got one hand tied behind your back, so you can do some things realistically, but you end up with it, you know, although it's technically more real than real life, actually it just feels wrong because you're restricted by what the game will do, by what the physics of the game will do, if that makes sense. Oh god, turn! The front just doesn't do anything. You can't make the car rotate and turn. Oh, why did that bottom out for once? Right, we'll try one more. I want to get a half-decent non-setup lap so we can compare it to the setup lap. Head-up display looks horrible. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the head-up display either. I actually always said the F125 head-up display, I always said I liked it, the on-screen display. Certain shortcomings, but overall I liked the redesign. Just feels a bit more basic, but I think you'll probably find the further you... Oh my god. The further you go back, the F1 games, the more basic it feels. Oh, it's just not nice to drive or push. I'll go back to it. I've said it many times. My advice to them for F124 was no. Don't do F124. But don't necessarily abandon that handling, which you clearly spent a long time trying to make. But it's not ready, was basically what I said. I said, keep developing in the background, but revert to F123 handling and make some tweaks for 24 because this handling model is not ready. And that's what it feels like. It feels unfinished and unready. And I was right, because F125 is fine. If you went straight from F123 to F125, I think people wouldn't have been nearly as upset. And all that comment got me was excluded from everything at EA. Right, let's try this with whatever setup I've got saved here. Now, does this make it feel any better? Oh my word, it definitely turns better. Oh my god. Oh my god. Suddenly, the understeer is largely dialed out. Okay, it didn't do the weird turning thing that it was doing before there, where it was kind of drifting into the corner, which is nice. This is going to be a lot faster for his next couple with the higher wings. There you go. And better rotation. It's flat, probably. Okay, I've got a bit more, it's still janky as hell, but I've got a bit more control now over the car because I could actually rotate it without it just having understeer. Oh, weird. You see how it kind of rotated and just suddenly locked on again? Oh, man, this setup's definitely faster, but it's not nicer. Oh my god, I've got to brake so late. Oh, this is absolutely hateful. Shut up. That corner's flat up. Oh, it's just every snap of oversteer upsets my soul. I'm doing one more lap, but then I'm going to go and cry in a cupboard, I think. Very cautious on throttle. We're up though. Alright, this is the lap, come on. Oh, it's just like... Oh, yeah. One more lap. This is the last lap I ever have to do an F124. Oh, it's just... Better. First one was the second. Get me, Cat. Oh, get me off it. Oh, F4. I now remember why I was so depressed at the start of last year when I first played that game. And the worry then for me was that they could have continued down that path. They could have gone, yeah, no, we really like how this game feels. This is exactly how we want it to feel. And they could have just keep going. Luckily for F125, they've largely fixed it. It's the same base. You can feel it's the same base, but they've dialed out all of the weirdness, most of the weirdness. There's still some shortcomings, obviously, at F125's handling model, but it now feels natural to drive and nice to drive, not whatever the hell that thing was. But let's try F123. So now F123 is interesting because I like the handling of F123. And obviously was very disappointed with the handling of the F124. And my feedback to them when I first drove F124 was go back to handling the F123. Holy hell, it launched a lot faster. And make some tweaks from there. But I recall the last time I played this, I went, oh my god, there is no front end at all. Because obviously that's a huge change they made with the last couple of F1 games. They've given it a really, really strong front end. Whereas this has got a really lazy front end, but a much more natural feeling sliding and back end, I believe. Let's go find out. It's exactly the same. This is insane. Well, we're obviously going to get a brand new menu for F126, surely, because it's just exactly the same. That what EA did? Did they cut back on the people working on the menus or something? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can feel the curbs, though. Front end is a bit too lazy, but more normal. Oh, hello, oversteer. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, turn. Oh, my God. I'm spun, though. Do you know what? It's not as different as I recall it being. Oh, my God. The front end is so lazy, though. It's really chronically understeering. Hopefully, the custom setup's going to fix that. Oh. Weird. Really having to apply a lot of steering lock. And to be fair, one of the changes they did make was to the steering lock of F124. Really feels good. You can even see the camera jolting more. It's a lot bumpier. Oh, I think I might bottom out over that curve maybe. A second time I spun the same spot. I bottoming out over that curve maybe. I haven't really got it properly sideways yet, but the slides. I mean, it's definitely more natural. Just in general, it's more natural. Like, because compared to F124, F124 was completely unnatural, like ridiculously unnatural. It's like, I mean, look how much hard work it is to get it to zigzag about. fundamentally, F1 isn't a sim and isn't really trying to be a sim, so giving it a sharp front end makes sense. Whoa! That doesn't happen anymore. I mean, the overrider thing is chronic understeer. Absolutely chronic understeer. We are on default setup. Starting to get used to it, though. I mean, the bumps are the biggest difference by far. I can really feel the bumps, and it's quite a workout with the force feedback. The force feedback, I feel like, is better on F1 23 compared to 25 and 24. Overall traction level, get off the curb, is similar. Whoa, you see that? I was just grinding across that curb. Overall traction level is similar, a little bit less than F1 25 overall traction. But when you step over the limit in F1 23, it's much more punishing. But not crazy so, not like F1 22 was. Oh, but equally, the slides feel more natural, but equally, it always feels too hard to get it back. Okay, let's just try and get it sideways. Hold on. I mean, it's definitely more natural. Like this, the front end is lazy as hell, but in terms of the sort of sliding, that's definitely closer to a sim than F1 24 or 25 is, in terms of how to catch a slide. Right, come on, let's just do a good lap. The bumps are by far the biggest difference, though. Caution maybe on throttle. Right. See, every time I slide, I'm able to lift the throttle a little bit, just to arrest the slide. Not the best. Oh, bottomed out. More than expected. Alright, well there's a lap. 1.5 seconds down on PB. 4.9. Let's run a custom setup. But yeah, I mean, I've recently driven iRacing's 2009 F1 car. And that feels, to me, a lot better. They haven't. That's an old handling model now, very old. That car's been in the game for probably 10 years now. But I drive that, I go, oh, yeah, man, this is a great car. It feels amazing to drive. All right, we're gonna do it. Let's go drive iRacing as close to these sort of cars as we can get. There should be a Mercedes car that's pretty close to those to feel what a sim that's made to realistic and official specification. They work closely with Mercedes to make that car as realistic as they could and as close to real life as they could. Whereas, other cars that maybe aren't licensed don't necessarily try to create the real thing and don't work with the real life engineers and stuff like the last two games do. So I like iRacing, so I'm probably going to prefer it, but let's give it a go. Let's try some iRacing. Now, obviously, iRacing is not remotely a competitor for the F1 game, right? This is not an apples to apples comparison. But this is the 2022 Mercedes F1 car, right? The only reason I'm doing this is because they made this car at a similar sort of time to where those F1 games were made. And I just want to get a feel for what it maybe could feel like or should feel like, even if this isn't, F1 game isn't trying to be iRacing, right? They're not competitors. But does this feel right and natural as opposed to those other games, which to me, none of them feel perfect. None of them feel like, oh, this, yeah, I love this one. This one's the best one. How does this feel? Well, straight away, the front end actually works. It does something. And I've always said iRacing feels loads quicker. I bet these lap times are going to be slow, but it feels loads quicker because you feel almost a bit scared of the car. Whoa, that's why. Whoa, man, traction is a lot harder. This is still not an apples to apples because this is not time trial. This has temperature simulation. Whereas F1 time trial doesn't have temperature simulation, so it's still not apples to apples. Yeah, see, this is what I always find. And I've always found this for years and years and years. iRacing, I have to build up to it. I can't come in iRacing and go, bam, on the pace. F1, I tend to start too quick and have to dial it back a little bit. iRacing is the opposite, because it's almost, and that's why it's so much more realistic, because it's almost like scary. You have to go, oh my god, can I really carry that much speed in that corner? Wow, and you just go for it. 110.4. 110.4? What were we doing in F1? We're in the fours, but in 4.9, I think. Oh. Oh. Yeah, so that's the F1 approach. Send into the corner and pray. I've also said the curbs feel quite forgiving. You can sort of drive over them in iRacing without any real... I mean, obviously, you can get bounced about, bounce off track and stuff, but, like, the curbs on this track feel flat as a pancake, but maybe they are in real life. Not too sure, right. 8.7. But yeah, I mean, the front end on this feels nicer than either any of the F1 games we just tried. No doubt about that. It's got a fairly pointy front end without being ridiculously pointy like F124 was or ridiculously lazy like F123 was. 25 is a good balance of front end. And I'd say this front end is... I guess it's the underlying physics. Because this front end, I'd say, if anything, is sharper than F125's front end. Because look how much we can move it about. But it doesn't... Maybe. But the underlying physics are better, I think. So it kind of balances it off. Whoa, man. The car was bounced around on me, so I couldn't get on the throttle. Although I prefer how this feels, to how the F1 game feels, I wouldn't... Well, I mean, look. F1 never would use this handling model. I wouldn't even suggest that they should. This kind of handling model is fun in its own way. The F1 game is supposed to be accessible to millions of people. This isn't accessible to millions of people. It's too sharp. It's too on edge. And look, I'm in a proper rig here with a expensive wheel and stuff. And yet, you know, I don't even find it easy to drive. So how is anyone with a controller going to drive? Or anyone with a cheaper wheel that's attached to a rickety table or a rickety desk? It's just not going to work. So I don't think this is the right handling model for the F1 game. Oh man, trail braking like crazy in there. Terrible exit though. A little too wide. I tried to make it stick. Didn't like it. This to me, it's weird because this feels more fun. It feels nicer. And I prefer this to the F1 handling model. And yet, if I had the choice, I still wouldn't put this in the F1 game. And it's not even just because the masses... It's not right for the masses. It's just... It's fun in its own way because it's so hard. It's a real challenge to get a decent lap in and get turn one right. But it's in its own way, it's also not as fun. It's fun to be able to just send it. And that's why F1 2013 was so popular, even though it was pretty woefully unrealistic. It was just fun just to launch the car around. That's why, you know, Forza Horizon is the most popular racing game. That's why GTA physics do so well. I really have to sort of guide it in. Oh, we've done it again. It's so interesting. It's not just chuck it in like it is in the F1 game. You really have to sort of guide the car. Be very mindful of your inputs. Yeah, almost a second up. So that's a 7.6. I honestly think I could maybe get into the 6s if I absolutely sent it. That's multiple seconds slower. This is a 22 car. Not a 23, 24, 25 car we drove before, but... There's some donuts. Donuts is always telling. Yeah. Natural donuts. The F1 games don't do natural donuts. The car spins and stops, then spins and stops, then spins and stops. Doesn't do donuts like it should in real life. That is always my acid test. Is the car realistic, or does it do donuts? Naturally, that'll tell you the underlying physics. So there you go. That was F1 25 versus F1 24 versus F1 23 with a bit of iRacing sprinkled in. For me, driving, iRacing is the best, but it's not really comparable. But I still wouldn't want that in the F1 game because it's not as fun to just send it, right? But F1 25, for me, is the best handling of those three. It just is. I like elements of F1 23, like its relatively unforgiving sliding and things. But the understeer is chronic, and it's not fixed by setups, because setups just they can't go with physics, so they just have to rotate it, which just also then breaks other things, makes it feel unnatural on exit. F1 24 is just broken, just bad. F1 25, though, is a good middle ground of all those things. It's got a sharp front end, not necessarily realistic, but also not so unrealistic that it feels broken. And the setups definitely improve the feel. The setups make the car feel quite natural and quite realistic in its own way. Not sim-like realistic, but like represents real life in a largely fair way. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Yeah, anyway, do let me know what you think. Don't just use your memory though, because I thought also my memory was telling me that F1 23 is going to be better. If you've got access to the games, go back and try them now. Go straight from F1 25, don't bother with F1 24. Go straight from F1 25 back to F1 23, especially if you're a sort of person that used to like F1 23, and let me know what you think of the differences. Let me know if you genuinely would prefer to go back to F1 23, and also what input device you're on. Because I suspect if you're on a wheel, you might be more likely to go back to F1 23, maybe. But on a controller, you're probably going to prefer F1 25. Anyway, it's been interesting. Catch you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.